What's
Welcome, everybody, to tonight's dramatic book club reading, where we will be reading an excerpt from Metaphysics by Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher. Our reading will be done in multiple parts by multiple Phenomenology Club members and voice actors. I, Buttress, will be beginning. Does everybody have the text, family? Is everybody ready to begin?
Yeah, I've got the text.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yes. Let's begin. This is Book 7 of Aristotle's Metaphysics, written in 350 before the Common Era. Woo! Hold on, I need to read this. I need to roll a cigarette. Get hype, everybody. Oh, hell yeah, the vocals. Oh, fuck, I'm getting hyped. Oh, shit.
Where's the music?
You can't hear it? Groovy's playing that shit. Turn it up. It's one hour of fantasy temple, ancient temple music. Basically, it's perfect.
I fuck with you.
Because this is metaphysics. Okay, I'm ready. Ahem. So, this is, I said that, Book 7. Book 7 of Metaphysics by Aristotle for our third book club meeting. Listen to this if you can't read. Okay. There are several senses in which a thing may be said to, quote-unquote, be, as we pointed out previously in our book on the various senses of words. For in one sense, the being meant is what a thing is, or of this. And in another sense, it means a quality or quantity or one of the other things that are predicated as these are. While being has all these senses, obviously that which is primarily is the what, which indicates the substance of the thing. For when we say of what quality a thing is, we say that it is good or bad, not that it is 3 cubits long or that it is a man. But when we say what it is, we do not say white or hot or 3 cubits long, but a man or a god. And all other things are said to be because they are, some of them quantities of that which is in this primary sense, others qualities of it, others affections of it, and others some other determination of it. And so one might even raise the question whether the words to walk, to be healthy, to sit imply that each of these things is existent, and similarly, in any other case of this sort, for none of them is either self-subsistent or capable of being separated from substance, but rather, if anything, it is that which walks or sits or is healthy that is an existent thing. Now these are seen to be more real because there is something definite which underlies them, i.e. the substance or individual, which is implied in such a predicate, for we never use the word good or sitting without implying this. Clearly then, it is in virtue of this category that each of the others also is. Therefore, that which is primarily, i.e. not in a qualified sense, but without qualification, must be substance. Yo, Aristotle, starting off strong, boy. Amazing. Now, there are several senses in which a thing is said to be first, yet substance is first in every sense. 1, in definition, 2, in order of knowledge, 3, in time. For 3 of the other categories, none can exist independently, but only substance. And one in definition, also this is first. For in the definition of each term, the definition of its substance must be present. And we think we know each thing most fully when we know what it is, like what man is or what fire is, rather than when we know its quality, its quantity, or its place, since we know each of these predicates also only when we know what the quantity or the quality is. And indeed, the question which was raised of old and is raised now and is always the subject of doubt, be what being is just the question, what is substance? For it is this that some assert to be one, others more than one, and that some assert to be limited in number, others unlimited. And so we also must consider chiefly and primarily and almost exclusively what that is which is in this sense. Bum, bum, bum. Part 2. Substance is thought to belong most obviously to bodies, and so we say that not only animals and plants and their parts are substances, but also natural bodies such as fire and water and earth and everything of the sort, and all things that are either parts of these or composed of these, in parentheses, either of parts or of the whole bodies, like the physical universe and its parts, stars and moon and sun. But whether these alone are substances, or there are also others, or only some of these, or others as well, or none of these, but only some other things, are substances, must be considered. Some think the limits of body, i.e. surface, line, point, and unit, are substances, and more so than body or the solid. Further, some do not think there is anything substantial besides sensible things, but others think there are external substances which are more in number and more real. Like Plato posited two kinds of substance, the forms and objects of mathematics, as well as a third kind, the substance of sensible bodies. And Speusippus made still more kinds of substance, beginning with the one, and assuming principles for each kind of substance, one for numbers, another for spatial magnitudes, and then another for the soul. And by going on in this way, he multiplies the kinds of substance. And some say forms and numbers have the same nature, and the other things come after them, lines and planes, until we come to the substance of the material universe and to sensible bodies. Regarding these matters, then, we must inquire which of the common statements are right and which are not right, and what substances there are, and whether there are or are not any besides sensible substances, and how sensible substances exist, and whether there is a substance capable of separate existence, and if so, why and how, or no or no such substance apart from sensible substances. And we must first sketch the nature of substance. Part 3. The word substance is applied, if not in more senses, still at least to four main objects. For both the essence and the universal and the genus are thought to be the substance of each thing, and fourthly, the substratum. Now, the substratum is that of which everything else is predicated, while it is itself not predicated of anything else. And so we must first determine the nature of this. For that which underlies a thing primarily is thought to be in the truest sense its substance. And in one sense, matter is said to be of the nature of substratum, in another shape, and in a third, the compound of these. By the matter, I mean, for instance, the bronze, by the shape, the pattern of its form, and by the compound of these, the statue, the concrete whole. Therefore, if the form is prior to the matter and more real, it will be prior also to the compound of both, for for the same reason. We have now outlined the nature of substance, showing that it is that which is not predicated of a stratum, but of which all else is predicated. But we must not merely state the matter thus, for this is not enough. The statement itself is obscure, and further, on this view, matter becomes substance. For if this is not substance, it baffles us to say what else is. When all else is stripped off, evidently nothing but matter remains. For while the rest are affections, products, and potencies of bodies, length, breadth, and depth are quantities and not substances. For a quantity is not a substance. But the substance is rather that to which these belong primarily. But when length and breadth and depth are taken away, we see nothing left, unless there is something that is bounded by these. So that to those who consider the question thus, matter alone must seem to be substance. By matter, I mean that which in itself is neither a particular thing, nor of a certain quantity, nor assigned to any other of the categories by which being is determined. For there is something of which each of these is predicated, whose being is different from that of each of the predicates. For the predicates other than substance are predicated of substance, while substance is predicated of matter. Therefore, the ultimate substratum is of itself neither a particular thing, nor of a particular quantity, nor otherwise positively characterized, nor yet is it the negations of these, for negations also will belong to it only by accident. If we adopt this point of view, then it follows that matter is substance. But this is impossible, for both separability and thisness are thought to belong chiefly to substance. And so form and the compound of form and matter would be thought to be substance rather than matter. The substance compounded of both, i.e. of matter and shape, may be dismissed, for it is posterior and its nature is obvious. And matter also is in a sense manifest, but we must inquire into the third kind of substance, for this is the most perplexing. Some of the sensible substances are generally admitted to be substances, so that we must look first among these, for it is an advantage to advance to that which is more knowable. For learning proceeds for all in this way, through that which is less knowable by nature, to that which is more knowable. And just as in conduct, our task is to start from what is good for each, and make what is without qualification good for each. So it is our task to start from what is more knowable to oneself, and make what is knowable by nature knowable to oneself. Oh my God, that was awesome. Now, what is knowable and primary for particular sets of people is often knowable to a very small extent and has little or nothing of reality. But yet one must start from that which is barely knowable, but knowable to oneself, and try to know what is knowable without qualification, passing, as has been said, by way of those very things which one does know. Part 4. Since at the start we distinguished the various marks by which we determine substance, and one of these was thought to be the essence, we must investigate this. And first, let us make some linguistic remarks about it. The essence of each thing is what it is said to be propter se. For being you is not being musical, since you are not by your very nature musical. What then you are by your very nature is your essence. nor yet is the whole of this the essence of a thing. Not that which is propter, say, as white is to a surface, because being a surface is not identical with being white. But again, the combination of both, being a white surface, is not the essence of surface, because surface itself is added. The formula, therefore, in which the term itself is not present but its meaning is expressed, this is the formula of the essence of each thing. Therefore, if to be a white surface is to be a smooth surface, to be white and to be smooth are one and the same. But since there are also compounds answering to the other categories, for there is a substratum for each category, like for quality, quantity, time, place, and motion, we must inquire whether there is a formula of the essence of each of them. Like whether to these compounds also there belongs an essence, like a white man. Let the compound be denoted by cloak. What is the essence of cloak? But, it may be said, this also is not a propter se expression. We reply that there are just two ways in which a predicate may fail to be true of a subject propter se, and one of these results from the addition, and the other from the omission of a determinant. One kind of predicate is not propter se, because the term that is being defined is combined with another determinant. Like, if in defining the essence of white, one were to state the formula of white man, the other because in the subject another determinant is combined with that which is expressed in the formula. E.g., if cloak meant white man and one were to define cloak as white, white man is white indeed, but its essence is not to be white. But is being a cloak an essence at all? Probably not. For the essence is precisely what something is. But when an attribute is asserted of a subject other than itself, the complex is not precisely what some this is. Like, white man is not precisely what some this is, since thisness belongs only to substances. Therefore, there is an essence only of those things whose formula is a definition. But we have a definition not where we have a word and a formula identical in meaning. For in that case, all formulae or sets of words would be definitions. For there will be some name for any set of words, whatever, so that even the Iliad will be a definition. But where there is a formula of something primary, and primary things are those which do not imply the predication of one element in them of another element, nothing then, which is not a species of a genus, will have an essence. Only species will have it. For these are thought to imply not merely that the subject participates in the attribute and that it has an affection or has it by accident, but for everything else as well. If it has a name, there be a formula of its meaning. Be that this attribute belongs to this subject, or instead of a simple formula, we shall be able to give a more accurate one, but there will be no definition nor essence. Or has Jesus Christ, Aristotle, or has definition, like what a thing is. Oh, I see. Or has definition, quote unquote, like what a thing is, quote unquote, several meanings. What a thing is, quote unquote, in one sense means substance, and the this, quote unquote, in another one or other of the predicates, quantity, quality, and the like. For as is belongs to all things, not however in the same sense, but to one sort of thing primarily and to others in a secondary way, so too what a thing is belongs in the simple sense to substance, but in a limited sense to the other categories. For even of a quality we might ask what it is, so that quality also is a what a thing is, not in the simple sense, however, but just as in the case of that which is not, some say, emphasizing the linguistic form, that is which is, not is simply, but is non-existence, so too with quality. We must no doubt inquire how we should express ourselves on each point, but certainly not more than how the facts actually stand. And so now also, since it is evident what language we use, essence will belong, just as what a thing is, does, primarily, and in the simple sense, to substance, and in a secondary way to the other categories also. Not essence in the simple sense, but the essence of a quality or of a quantity. For it must be either by an equivocation that we say these are, or by adding to and taking from the meaning of are, in the way in which that which is not known may be said to be known. The truth being that we use the word neither ambiguously nor in the same sense, but just as we apply the word medical by virtue of a reference to one and the same thing, not meaning one and the same thing, nor yet speaking ambiguously. For a patient and an operation and an instrument are called medical neither by an ambiguity nor with a single meaning, but with reference to a common end. Oh my dude. But it does not matter at all in which of the two ways one likes to describe the facts. This is evident, that definition and essence in the primary and simple sense belong to substances. Still they belong to other things as well, only not in the primary sense. For if we suppose this, it does not follow that there is a definition of every word which means the same as any formula. It must mean the same as a particular kind of formula, and this condition is satisfied if it is a formula of something which is one, not by continuity like the Iliad or the things that are one by being bound together, but in one of the main senses of one, quote unquote, which answer to the senses of is, quote unquote. Now, that which is, quote unquote, in one, are one by being, in one sense denotes a this, in another a quantity, in another a quality. And so there can be a formula or definition even of white man, but And so there can be a formula or definition even of white man, but not in the sense in which there is a definition either of white or of a substance. Part 5. It is a difficult question if one denies that a formula with an added determinant is a definition, whether any of the terms that are not simple but coupled will be definable. For we must explain them by adding a determinant, like there is the nose and concavity and snubness, which is compounded out of the two by the presence of the one in the other. And it is not by accident that the nose has the attribute either of concavity or of snubness, but in virtue of its nature. Nor do they attach to it as whiteness does to Callias, or to man, because Callias, who happens to be a man, is white, but as male attaches to animal, and equal to quantity, and as all so-called attributes propter se attach to their subjects. And such attributes are those in which is involved either the formula, or the name of the subject, or the particular attribute, and which cannot be explained without this. E.g., white can be explained apart from man, but not female apart from animal. Therefore, there is either no essence and definition of any of these things, or if there is, it is in another sense, as we have said. But there is also a second difficulty about them. For if snub nose and concave nose are the same thing, snub and concave will be the thing. But if snub and concave are not the same, because it is impossible to speak of snubness apart from the thing of which it is an attribute proper se, for snubness is concavity in a nose, either it is impossible to say snub nose, or the same thing will have been said twice. Concave nose nose. New band name. For snub nose will be concave nose nose. And so it is absurd that such things should have an essence. If they have, there will be an infinite regress. For in snub nose nose, yet another nose will be involved. Clearly then, only substance is definable. For if the other categories also are definable, it must be by addition of a determinant. The qualitative is defined thus, and so is the odd, for it cannot be defined apart from number, nor can female be defined apart from animal. When I say by addition, I mean the expressions in which it turns out that we are saying the same thing twice, as in these instances. And if this is true, coupled terms also, like odd number, will not be definable. But this escapes our notice because our formulae are not accurate. But if these also are definable, either it is in some other way, or, as we definition and essence must be said to have more than one sense. Therefore, in one sense, nothing will have a definition, and nothing will have an essence, except substances. But in another sense, other things will have them. Clearly then, definition is the formula of the essence, and essence belongs to substances, either alone or chiefly and primarily, and in the unqualified sense. Part 6. We must inquire whether each thing and its essence are the same or different. This is of some use for the inquiry concerning substance. Is that the right page number? I'm sorry, I'm having problems. Yes. This is of some use for the inquiry concerning substance. For each thing is thought to be not different from its substance, and the essence is said to be the substance of each thing. Now, in the case of accidental unities, the two would be generally thought to be different. White man would be thought to be different from the essence of white man. For if they are the same, the essence of man and that of white man are also the same. For a man and a white man are the same thing, as people say, so that the essence of white man and that of man would be also the same. But perhaps it does not follow that the essence of accidental unity should be the same as that of the simple terms, for the extreme terms are not in the same way identical with the middle term. But perhaps this might be thought to follow, that the extreme terms, the accidents, should turn out to be the same, the essence of white and that of musical. But this is not actually thought to be the case. But in the case of so-called self-subsistent things, is a thing necessarily the same as its essence? If there are some substances which have no other substances nor entities prior to them, substances such as some assert the ideas, capital I, to be, if the essence of good is to be different from good itself, and the essence of animal from animal itself, and the essence of being from being itself, there will, firstly, be other substances and entities and ideas, capital I, besides those which are asserted, and secondly, these others will be prior substances, if essence is substance. And if the posterior substances and the prior are severed from each other, A, there will be no knowledge of the former, and B, the latter will have no being. By severed, I mean, if the good itself has not the essence of good, and the latter has not the property of being good, for A, there is knowledge of each thing only when we know its essence, and B, the case is the same for other things as for the good. So that if the essence of good is not good, neither is the essence of reality real, nor the essence of unity one. And all essences alike exist or none of them does. So that if the essence of reality is not real, neither is any of the others. Again, that to which the essence of good does not belong is not good. The good, then, must be one with the self-subsistence, must be one with the essence of good, and the beautiful with the essence of beauty. And so with all things which do not depend on something else, but are self-subsistent and primary. For it is enough if they are this, even if they are not forms, capital F, or rather, perhaps, even if they are forms. At the same time, it is clear that if there are ideas, such as some people say there are, it will not be substratum that is substance, for these must be substances, but not predicable of a substratum. For if they were, they would exist only by being participated in. Woo! Each thing itself, then, and its essence are one and the same in no merely accidental way, as is evident both from the preceding arguments, and because to know each thing, at least, is just to know its essence, so that even by the exhibition of instances it becomes clear that both must be one. But of an accidental term, like the musical or the white, since it has two meanings, it is not true to say that it itself is identical with its essence, for both that to which the accidental quality belongs and the accidental quality are white, so that in a sense the accident and its essence are the same, and in a sense they are not. For the essence of white is not the same as the man or the white man, but it is the same as the attribute white. The absurdity of the separation would appear also if one were to assign a name to each of the essences, for there would be yet another essence besides the original one. To the essence of horse there will belong a second essence. Yet why should not some things be their essences from the start, since essence is substance? But indeed, not only are a thing and its essence one, but the formula of them is also the same, and is clear even from what has been said. For it is not by accidents that the essence of one and the one are one. Further, if they are to be different, the process will go on to infinity. For we shall have one, the essence of one, and two, the one, so that to terms of the former kind, the same argument will be applicable. Clearly then, each primary and self-subsistent thing is one and the same as its essence. The sophistical objections to this position, and the question whether Socrates and to be Socrates are the same thing, are obviously answered by the same solution, for there is no difference either in the standpoint from which the question would be asked, or in that from which one could answer it successfully. We have explained then, in what sense each thing is the same as its essence, and in what sense it is not. Part 7. Who goes there? Part 7. Of things that come to be, some come to be by nature, some by art, some spontaneously. Now, everything that it comes to be... God damn it. Now, everything that comes to be by the agency of something and from something, and comes to be something. And the something which I say it comes to be may be found in any category. It may come to be either a this, or of some size, or of some quality, or somewhere. Now, natural comings to be are the comings to be of those things which come to be by nature, and that out of which they come to be is what we call matter, and that by which they come to be is Yeah. And that by which they come to be is something which exists naturally. And the something which they come to be is man or a plant or one of the things of this kind, which we say are substances, if anything is. All things produced either by nature or by art have matter, for each of them is capable both of being and of not being. And this capacity is the matter in each, and in general, both that from which they are produced is nature, and the type according to which they are produced is nature. For that which is produced, e.g., a plant or an animal, has a nature. And so is that by which they are produced, the so-called formal nature, which is specifically the same, though this is in another individual. For man begets man. Ooh, that was deep. Thus, then, are natural products produced. All other productions are called makings, and all makings proceed either from art or from a faculty or from thought. Some of them happen also spontaneously or by luck, just as natural products sometimes do. For there also the same things sometimes are produced without seed as well as from seed. Concerning these cases, then, we must inquire later. But from art proceed the things of which the form is in the soul of the artist. Oh yeah. By form, I mean the essence of each thing and its primary substance. For even contraries have in a sense the same form, for the substance of a privation is the opposite substance. Health is the substance of disease, for disease is the absence of health, and health is the formula in the soul or the knowledge of it. The healthy subject is produced as the result of the following train of thought. Since this is health, if the subject is to be healthy, this must first be present. A uniform state of body. And if this is to be present, there must be heat. And the physician goes on thinking thus until he reduces the matter to a final something which he himself can produce. Then the process from this point onward, i.e., the process towards health, is called a making. Therefore, it follows that in a sense, health comes from substance. No, that's not right. God damn it, why did I print landscape? Health comes from, what does health come from, Aristotle? Please tell me. Oh, that is right. Oh, god damn it. Therefore, it follows that in a sense, health comes from substance. For each thing is thought to be not different from its substance, and the essence is said to be the substance of each thing. Now in the case of accidental unities, the two would be generally thought to be different. White man would be thought to be different from the essence of white man. For if they are the same, the essence of man and that of white man are also the same. For a man and a white man are the same thing, as people say, so that the essence of white man and that of man would be also the same. What the fuck? Did I not read this part? No, I guess I didn't. I feel like I'm rereading shit. Am I going crazy? Is anyone with me?
I
Yo,
don't
send
think
that
you
text.
are.
Am I?
Nah, it just
left
feels
off.
that way because of the nature of what he's doing, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was
The-
checking.
the
Because
way
I'm
he's
using a
talking.
marker too for notes and it's bleeding through. I need to use something else because I keep flipping and I'm like, oh, I wrote notes already. But it's just
Use
bleeding.
pencil. Oh,
No, but then
Bad.
it will fade away and be nothing.
A pen.
Okay, sorry. I'm also reading off landscape, which I will never do again because I keep going back and I'm like, fuck, where's the line start?
Wait, where's the link for this?
oh, fucking barbarians.
I posted it.
I don't see it.
Well, you better scroll up because the bell just tolled and I need to get back to it.
Someone say Gwen Stefani.
Therefore, it follows that in a sense, health comes from substance. For each thing is thought to be not different from its substance, and the essence is said to be the substance of each thing. Now, in the case of accidental unities, the two would be generally thought to be different. White man would thought to be different from the essence of white man, for if they are the same, the essence of man and that of white man are also the same. For a man and a white man are the same thing, as people say, so that the essence of white man and that of man would be also the same. But perhaps it does not follow that the essence of accidental unity should be the same as that of the simple terms, for the extreme terms are not in the same way identical with the middle term. But perhaps this might be thought to follow, that the extreme terms, the accidents, should turn out to be the same, the essence of white man and that of musical, but this is not actually thought to be the case. But in the case of so-called self-subsistence things, dude, I don't know if I'm losing my mind. I swear I read this. I did read this page. I'm reading pages over again.
Oops. Sorry, I'm a bit I'm a bit out of it.
This is really hard. God damn it.
Yeah, no, this one sucks.
No, it's awesome, but it's so hard. Like, there's probably a better translation.
We gotta do like a mindfulness exercise.
This rules though. You don't like it? Are you reading
Honestly,
along?
No,
this
it's
sounded
cool, yeah.
I'm trying to read along. I have it in front of me. Like this, it's gonna sound, even if, to be honest, I don't know if you're rereading shit or not because I'm distracted by like talking shit, but I'm also listening to you. So like, it is gonna sound like whenever you do metaphysics, like it's gonna sound weird because he's going through like all the like little figures in the math equation, like 2 + 2 = 4, and being like, okay,
Right.
what's the relation of this 2 to this 2, and like all this other shit, and like the equal sign of the plus sign, and like how can we know those, and what's that kind of knowledge, and okay, go to the plus sign, and what's this relation to the 2, and it's like you're running the same kind of forms of knowledge back and forth. Like
It's like ancient logical positivism.
I don't know. That's pretty interesting.
I think it rules, but it's really hard to reach. So.
Well, I think those would be like, maybe those would be like the atomists.
The what?
The atomists.
The atomists.
Who are the
Yeah.
atomists?
Oh, there's some ill pre-Socratic motherfuckers, man. Like.
Oh, I know my problem. I'm missing page 9. Jesus Christ.
You tear it
That's
out.
my problem. That's why I kept going. Oh, Jesus Christ. I am so sorry. Oh, God. Forgive me. Whew. Well, we're almost halfway through.
When do we get more readers? What's up? You're a dope reader, but what's up?
Yeah, I mean, does anyone want to?
I mean, you told me I was up. I showed up here because I'm like, oh, you're down to read. Like, what up?
Yeah, I just didn't know if after.
I'm ready to read, homie.
Yeah, someone start. Okay. All right. Cammy was first in line, so how about Cammy does the next few pages, and then we'll give it over to John Dewey. Does that sound good?
No. Well, yeah. Anybody else can go first. Like, where are we at right now? What part are we in?
Okay, part 7, the 3rd paragraph, the sentence where he says, let's see. Therefore, it follows that in a sense, health comes from, and that's where I started to read the other page again. Apologies.
Okay,
so where are we?
Part 7, paragraph 3, and then about a little more than, I don't know. I think it's near the end of the paragraph. Oh, I can't see the next page, but the sentence that says, then the process from this point, or no, therefore it follows that in a sense health comes from. Do you guys see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. John, you see it?
Wait, where am I?
I see it.
Third paragraph of part 7. Are you there? Third paragraph, part 7.
Let me see. Hold up. All right, 1, 2. How does it start?
Therefore, it follows.
The paragraph starts, thus then are natural products produced.
There we go. All right, so I'm looking for therefore did you follow. Okay, go ahead.
Got it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I start?
All right. Cammy is our new Aristotle. Go ahead.
Behold.
Take it away.
Therefore, it follows that in a sense, health comes from health, and house from house. That with matter from that without matter. For the medical art and the building art are the form of health and of the house. And when I speak of substance without matter, I mean the essence. Of the productions or processes, one part is called thinking and the other making. That which proceeds from the starting point, and the form is thinking. And that which proceeds from the final step of the thinking is making, and each of the other intermediate things is produced in the same way. I mean, for instance, if the subject is to be healthy, his bodily state must be made uniform. What then does being made uniform imply? This or that, and this depends on his being made warm. What does this imply? Something else. And this something is present potentially. And what is present potentially is already in the physician's power. The active principle, then, and the starting point for the process of becoming healthy is, if it happens by art, the form in the soul. And if spontaneously, it is that, whatever it is, which starts the making, for the man who makes by art is in healing. The starting point is perhaps the production of warmth, and this the physician produces by rubbing. Warmth in the body then is either a part of health or is followed, either directly or through several intermediate steps, by something similar which is a part of health, and this, viz., that which produces the part of health, is the limiting point, and so too with the house. The stones are the limiting point here, and in all other cases. Therefore, as the saying goes, it is impossible that anything should be produced if there were nothing existing before. Obviously, then, some part of the result will pre-exist of necessity, for the matter is a part, for this is present in the process, and it is this that becomes something. But is the matter an element even in the formula? We definitely describe in both ways what brazen circles are. We describe both the matter by saying it is brass, and the form by saying that is such and such a figure. And figure is the proximate genus in which it is placed. The brazen circle, then, has its matter in its formula. As for that out of which, as matter they are produced, some things are said, when they have been produced, to be not that but that thing. E.g., the statue is not gold but golden. And a healthy man is not said to be that from which he has come. The reason is that though a thing comes from both from its privation and from its substratum, which we call its matter, e.g., what becomes healthy is both a man and an invalid, it is said to come rather from its privation, e.g., it is from an invalid rather than from a man that a healthy subject is produced. And so the healthy subject is not said to be an invalid, but to be a man, and the man is said to be healthy. But as for the things whose privation is obscure and nameless, e.g., in brass, the privation of a particular shape, or in bricks and timber, the privation of arrangement as a house, the thing is thought to be produced from these materials. As is the former case, the healthy man is produced from an invalid. And so, as there also a thing is not said to be that from which it comes. Here the statue is not said to be wood, but is said by a verbal change to be wooden, not brass but brazen, not gold but golden, and the house is said to be not bricks but bricken. Though we should not say without qualification, if we look at the matter carefully, even that a statue is produced from wood or a house from bricks, because coming to be implies change in that from which a thing comes to be and not permanence. It is for this reason, then, that we use this way of speaking. Part 8. Since anything which is produced by something, and this I call the starting point of the production, and from something, and let this be taken to be not the privation but the matter, for the meaning we attach to this has already been explained. And since something is produced, and this is either a sphere or a circle or whatever else it may chance to be, just as we do not make the substratum, the brass, so we do not make the sphere, except incidentally, because the brazen sphere is a sphere and we make the form. For to make a this is to make a this out of the substratum in the full sense of the word. I mean that to make the brass round is not to make the round or the sphere, but something else, i.e., to produce this form in something different from itself. For if we make the form, we must make it out of something else. For this was assumed, e.g., we make a brazen sphere, and that in the sense that out of this which is brass, we make this other, which is a sphere. If, then, we also make the substratum itself, clearly we shall make it in the same way, and the processes of making will regress to infinity. Obviously, then the form also, whatever we ought to call the shape present in the sensible thing, is not produced, nor is there any production of it, nor is the essence produced. For this is that which is made to be in something else, either by art or by nature or by some faculty. But that there is a brazen sphere, this we make. For we make it out of brass, and the sphere, we bring the form into this particular matter, and the result is a brazen sphere. But if the essence of sphere in general is to be produced, something must be produced out of something. For the product will always have to be divisible, and one part must be this and another that. I mean, the one must be matter and the other form. If, then, a sphere is the figure whose circumference is at all points equidistant from the center, part of this will be the medium in which the thing made will be, and part will be in that medium, and the whole will be the thing produced, which corresponds to the brazen sphere. It is obvious, then, from what has been said, that which is spoken of as form or substance is not produced, but the concrete thing which gets its name from this is produced, and then everything which is generated matter is present, and one part of the thing is matter and the other form. Is there, then, a sphere apart from the individual spheres, or a house apart from the bricks? Rather, we may say that no this would ever have been coming to be if this had been so, but that the form means the such, and is not a this, a definite thing, but the artist makes, or the father begets, a such out of a this, and when it has begotten, it is a this such, and the whole this, Callias or Socrates, is analogues to this brazen sphere, but man and animal to brazen sphere in general. Obviously, then, the cause which consists of the forms taken in the sense in which some maintain the existence of the forms, i.e., if they are something apart from the individuals, is useless, at least with regard to comings to be and to substance. And the forms need not, for this reason at least, be self-subsistent substances. In some cases, indeed, it is even obvious that the begetter is of the same kind as the begotten, not, however, the same nor one in number but in form, i.e., in the case of natural products, for man begets man, unless something happens contrary to nature, e.g., the production of a mule by a horse. And even these cases are similar, for that which would be found to be common to horse and ass, the genus next above them, has not received the name, but it would doubtless be both, in fact, something like a mule. Obviously, therefore, it is quite unnecessary to set up a form as a pattern, for we should have looked for forms in these cases, if in any. For these are substances, if anything are so. The begetter is adequate to the making of the product and to the causing of the form in the matter. And when we have the whole, such and such a form in this flesh and in these bones, this is Callias or Socrates, and they are different in virtue of their matter, for this is different, but the same in form, for their form is indivisible. Part 9. The question might be raised why some things are produced spontaneously as well as by art, e.g.
Yeah, like turtles, Aristotle, you dumb motherfucker.
Beg your pardon.
Don't talk shit about my boy. Yo, he's killing it right now.
As well as by art.
Yeah, your boy hates women.
So does every philosopher in the history of ever.
Alright, my bad.
Yes, continue, Cammy. Thank you.
Whoa.
While others are not, e.g. a house. The reason is that in some cases, the matter which governs the production in the making and producing of any work of art, and in which a part of the product is present, some matter is such as to be set in motion by itself, and some is not of this nature. And of the former kind, some can move itself in the particular way required, while other matter is incapable of this. For many things can be set in motion by themselves, but not in some particular way, e.g., that of dancing. The things, then, whose matter is of this sort, e.g., stones, cannot be moved in the particular way required, except by something else. But in another way they can move themselves, and so it is with fire. Therefore, some things will not exist apart from someone who has the art of making them, while others will, for motion will be started by these things, which have not the art but can themselves be moved by other things, which have not the art or with a motion starting from a part of the product. And it is clear also from what has been said that in a sense every product of art is produced from a thing which shares its name, as natural products are produced, or from a part of itself which shares its name, e.g. the house is produced from a house, qua produced by reason, for the art of building is the form of the house, or from something which contains the art of it, if we exclude things produced by accident. For the cause of the things producing the product directly per se is a part of the product. The heat in the movements caused heat in the body, and this is either health or a part of health. or is followed by a part of health or by health itself. And so it is said to cause health, because it causes that to which health attaches as a consequence. Therefore, as in syllogisms, substance is the starting point of everything. It is from what a thing that syllogisms start. And from it also we now find processes of production to start. Things which are formed by nature are in the same case as these products of art. For the seed is productive in the same way as the things that work by art, for it has the form potentially, and that from which the seed comes has in a sense the same name as the offspring, only in sense. For we must not expect parent and offspring always to have exactly the same name, as in the production of human being from human, for a woman also can be produced by a man, unless the offspring be an imperfect form, which is the reason why the parent of a mule is not a mule. The natural things which, like the artificial objects previously considered, can be produced spontaneously, are those whose matter can be moved even by itself in the way in which the seed usually moves it. Those things which have not such matter cannot be produced except from the parent animals themselves. But not only regarding substance does our argument prove that its form does not come to be, but the argument applies to all the primary classes alike, i.e., quantity, quality, and the other categories. For as the brazen sphere comes to be, but not the sphere nor the brass, and so too is the case of brass itself. If it comes to be, it is its concrete unity that comes to be, for the matter and the form must always exist before. So is it, both in the case of substance and in that of quality and quantity, and the other categories likewise, for the quality does not come to be, but the wood of that quality, and the quantity does not come to be, but the wood or the animal of that size. But we may learn from these instances a peculiarity of substance, that there must exist beforehand in complete reality another substance which produces it, e.g., an animal, if an animal is produced, but it is not necessary that a quality or quantity should pre-exist, otherwise, then potentially. What happened to Groovy? Oh. Hello? Yes, part 10.
What up?
Shh. Since a definition is a formula, and every formula has part, and as the formula is to the thing, so is the part of the formula to the part of the thing. The question is already being asked whether the formula of the part must be present in the formula of the whole or not. For in some cases, the formulae of the parts are seen to be present, and in some not. The formula of the circle does not include that of the segments, but that of the syllable includes that of the letters. Yet the circle is divided into segments as the syllable is into letters, and further parts are prior to the whole, and the acute angle is a part of the right angle, and the finger a part of the animal. The acute angle will be prior to the right angle and finger to man, but the latter are thought to be prior. For in formula the parts are explained by reference to them, and in respect also of the power of existing apart from each other, the wholes are prior to the parts. Perhaps we should rather say that part is used in several senses. One of these is that which measures another thing in respect of quantity, but let this sense be set aside. Let us inquire about the parts of which substance consists. If then matter is one thing, form another, the compound of these a third, and both the matter and the form of the compound are substance. Even the matter is, in a sense, called part of a thing, while in a sense it is not, but only the elements of which the formula of the form consists, e.g. the concavity flesh, for this is the matter in which it is produced. It is not a part, but of snugness it is a part. And the bronze is a part of the concrete statue, but not of the statue when this is spoken of in the sense of the form. For of the segments, but the formula of the syllable includes that of the letters. For the letters are parts of the formula of the form, and not matter, but the segments are parts in the sense of matter on which the form supervenes. Yet they are nearer the form than the bronze when roundness is produced in bronze. But in a sense, not even every kind of letter will be present in the formula of the syllable, e.g. particular waxen letters or the letters as movements in the air. For in these also we have already something that is part of the syllable only in the sense that it is its perceptible matter. For even if the line when divided passes away into its halves, or the man is bone and muscle and flesh, it does not follow that they are composed of these as parts of their essence, but rather as matter, and these are parts of the concrete thing, but not also of the form, i.e. of that to which the formula refers, wherefore also they are not present in formula. In one kind of formula, then, the formula of such parts will be present, but in another it must not be present, where the formula does not refer to the concrete object. For it is for this reason that some things have as their constituent principles parts into which they pass away, while some have not. Those things which are the form and the matter taken together, e.g. the snub or the bronze circle, pass away into material, and the matter is a part of them. But these things which do not involve matter, but are without matter, and whose formulae are formulae of the form only, do not pass away, either not at all, or at any rate not in this way. Therefore these materials are principles and parts of concrete things, while of the form they are neither parts nor principles. And therefore the clay statue is resolved into clay, and the ball into bronze, and Callias into flesh and bones, and again the circle into its segments. For there is a sense of circle in which involves matter. For circle is used ambiguously, meaning both the circle unqualified and the individual circle, because there is no name peculiar to the individuals. The truth has indeed now been stated, but still, let us state it yet more clearly, taking up the question again. The parts of the formula into which the formula is divided are prior to it, either all or some of them. The formula of the right angle, however, does not include the formula of the acute, but the formula of the acute includes that of the right angle. For he who defines the acute uses the right angle, for the acute is less than a right angle. The circle and the semicircle also are in a like relation, for the semicircle is defined by the circle, and so is the finger by the whole body. For a finger is such and such a part of a man. Therefore the parts which are of the nature of matter, and into which as its matter a thing is divided, are posterior. For those which are of the nature of parts of the formula, and of the substance according to its formula, are prior, either all or some of them. And since the soul of animals, for this is the substance of a living being, is their substance according to the formula, i.e. the form and the essence of a body of a certain kind. At least we shall define each part, if we define it well, not without reference to its function, and this cannot belong to it without perception. so that the parts of soul are prior, either all or some of them, to the concrete animal. And so, too, with each individual animal, and the body and parts are posterior to this, the essential substance, and it is not the substance, but the concrete thing that is divided into these parts as its matter. This being so, to the concrete thing, these are in a sense prior, but in a sense they are not. For they cannot even exist if severed from the whole. For it is not a finger in any and every state that is the finger of a living thing, but a dead finger is a finger only in name. Some parts are neither prior nor posterior to the whole, i.e., those which are dominant, and in which the formula, i.e., the essential substance, is immediately present, e.g., perhaps the heart or the brain, for it does not matter in the least which of the two has this quality. But man and horse and terms which are thus of individuals, but universally, are not substance, but something composed of this particular formula, and this particular matter, treated as universal. And as regards the individual, Socrates already ultimate individual matter, and similarly in all other cases, a part may be a part either of the form, i.e. of the essence, or of the compound of the form and the matter, or of the matter itself, but only the parts of the form are parts of the formula, and the formula is of the universal, for being a circle is the same as the circle, and being a soul the same as the soul. But when we come to the concrete thing, e.g., this circle, i.e., one of the individual circles, whether perceptible or intelligible, I mean by intelligible circles the mathematical, and by perceptible circles those of bronze and of wood. Of these there is no definition, but they are known by the aid of intuitive thinking or perception. And when they pass out of this complete realization, it is not clear whether they exist or not, but they are always stated and recognized by means of the universal formula. But matter is unknowable in itself, and some matter is perceptible and some intelligible. Perceptible matter being, for instance, bronze and wood, and all matter that is changeable, and intelligible matter being that which is present in perceptible things, not qua perceptible, i.e., the objects of mathematics. We have stated, then, how matters stand with regard to whole and part, and their priority and posteriority. And when anyone asks whether the right angle in the circle and the animal are prior, or the things into which they are divided, and of which they consist, i.e. the parts, we must meet the inquiry by saying that the question cannot be answered simply. For if even bare soul is the animal or the living thing, or the soul of the individual is the individual itself, and being a circle is the circle, and being a right angle and the essence of the right angle is the right angle, then the whole in one sense must be called posterior to the art in one sense, i.e. to the parts included in the formula and to the parts of the individual right angle, for both the material right angle is made of bronze, and that which is formed by individual lines are posterior to the parts, while the immaterial right angle is posterior to the parts of the formula, but prior to those included in the particular instance, and the question must not be answered simply. If, however, the soul is something different and is not identical with the animal, even so some parts must, as we have maintained, be called prior, and others must not.
Okay, so John wants to read.
Okay,
Cammy, that was great, especially with that space music. That was like ASMR. Cammy's my favorite Aristotle so far. Let's see if John can beat your Aristotle. John, how are you gonna
Yes.
Okay, yeah, John, why don't you take part 11? Just tell me when you're tired, and then someone else, Brianna or Spacecock, if you want to read, you can.
Hey, okay.
All right, let's go, John. Just tell us when you're tired. Go.
Alright, what's up everybody? Let's do this. Part 11 in the Metaphysics. Alright.
Can I get some drama? Can I get some... I need some wonder. More wonder.
Okay, let me get a swig of water here. I'm like... let me get a swig of water like Orson Welles here.
Better be water, not whiskey.
Spacecock, are you gonna read too? I would love to hear you do some Aristotle.
I'll try.
All right, let's see when John gets tired.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
So, another question is naturally raised vis-a-vis what sort of parts belong to the form and what sort of parts not to the form. But, so, not the form, but the concrete thing. So, if this is not plain, it's not possible to define anything. Because definition is of the universal and of the form. If then it is not evident what sort of parts are of the nature of matter and what sort are not, neither will the formula of the thing be evident. Fuck. I'm fucking this all up. Okay, I'm just going forward. In the case of things which are found to occur in specifically different materials, as a circle may exist in bronze or stone or wood, it seems plain that these, the bronze or the stone, are no part of the essence of the circle, since it is found apart from them. Of the things which are not seen to exist apart, there is no reason why the same may not excuse me, there's no reason why the same may not be true. Just as if all circles that had ever been seen were of bronze. For nonetheless the bronze would be no part of the form. But it is hard to eliminate it in thought. Fucking, you see every circle in damn bronze, somebody tells you a circle doesn't have to be bronze, you're like, I don't know, man. Anyway. Alright.
Look, this is for people who can't do the reading, so they just are gonna listen. So please, save the commentary. Make fun little quips, but you know. Don't go crazy.
Okay, no, I'm just giving a little, Alright, where did I fucking leave off at? See, now I don't know what the fuck I am. Alright.
Eliminated.
Okay, here we go. An example, the form of mammon is always found in flesh and bones and in parts of those kinds. Are these then also the parts of the form in the formula? No, they're matter. But because man is not also in other matters, we are unable to perform the abstraction. Since this is thought to be possible, but it is not clear when it is the case, some people already raised the question, even in the case of the circle and the triangle, thinking that it is not right to define these by reference to lines in the continuous, but that all of these are to the circle or the triangle as the flesh and bones are to man, and bronze or stone to the statue. And they reduce all things to numbers, and they say that the formula of line is that of 2. And those who assert the ideas some make excuse me. And of those who assert the ideas some make 2, the line itself, that like the concept of 2, the line itself, and other numbers make it the form of the line, make 2 the form of the line. For in some cases they say the form in that of which it is the form. For some cases they say the form and that of which it is the form are the same, e.g. 2 in the form of 2. But in the case of line, they say this is no longer so. It follows then that there is one form for many things whose form is evidently different, a conclusion which confronted the Pythagoreans also. And it is possible to make one thing the form itself, form dash itself, one term of all, and to hold that the others are not forms, but thus all things will be one. We've pointed out then that the question of definitions contains some difficulty, and why this is so. So to reduce all things to forms and to eliminate the matter is useless labor. For some things surely are a particular form in a particular matter, or particular things in a particular state. And the comparison which Socrates the Younger used to make in the case of animal was not sound. For it leads away from the truth, and makes one suppose that man can possibly exist without his parts, as the circle can without bronze. But the case is not similar. For an animal is something perceptible, and it's not perceptible to define it without reference to movement. It is not possible to define it without reference to movement, nor, therefore, without reference to the parts being in a certain state. For it is not a hand in any and every state that is a part of man, but only when it can fulfill its work, and therefore only when it is alive. And if it is not alive, it is not a part. Humans don't have to have hands, you know what I'm saying? Sirens, police, get out of my face! Ugh! Sorry. Regarding the objects of mathematics, why are the formulae of the parts not parts of the formulae of the wholes? E.g., why are not the semicircles included in the formula of the circle? It cannot be said because these parts are perceptible things, for they are not. But, alright, sorry, just double checking. But perhaps this makes no difference. For even some things which are not perceptible must have matter. Indeed, there is some matter in everything which is not in essence in a bare form, but of this. The semicircles, then, will not be parts of the universal circle, but will be parts of individual circles, as has been said before. For while one kind of matter is perceptible, there is another which is perceptible. There's another which is intelligible, as opposed to, perceptible. It's clear also that the soul is the primary substance, and the body is matter. In the man or animal is the compound of both taken universally. In Socrates, or Coriscus, if even the soul of Socrates may be called Socrates, has two meanings. For some mean by such a term the soul, and others mean the concrete thing. But if Socrates, or Coriscus, means simply this particular soul in this particular body, the individual is analogous to the universal in its composition. Whether there is, apart from the matter of such substances, another kind of matter, and one should look for substance other than these, e.g. numbers or something of the sort, must be considered later. For it's for the sake of this that we are trying to determine the nature of perceptible substances as well, since in the sense of inquiry about perceptible substances is a work of physics, i.e. of second philosophy, for the physicist must come to know not only about the matter, but also about the substance expressed in the formula, and even more than about the other. And in the case of definitions, how the elements in the formula are parts of the definition, and why the definition is one formula, for clearly the thing is one, but in virtue of what is the thing one, although it has parts. This must also be considered later. What the essence is, and in what sense it is independent, has been stated universally in a way which is true of every case. And also, why the formula of the essence of some things contains the parts of the thing defined, while that of others does not. And we've stated that in the formula of the substance, the material parts will not be present, for they are not even parts of the substance in that sense, but of the concrete substance. But of this there is, in a sense, a formula, and in a sense there is not. For there is no formula of it with its matter, for this is indefinite, but there is a formula of it with reference to its primary substance, e.g. in the case of a man, the formula of the soul, for the substance of the indwelling form from which in the matter so-called concrete substance is derived. E.g. concavity is a form of this sort, for and from this in the nose arise, snub nose and snubness. But in the concrete substance, we've stated that the essence and the thing itself are in some cases the same, i.e. in the case of primary substances, e.g. curvature and the essence of curvature, if this is primary. By a primary substance, I mean one which does not imply the presence of something in something else, i.e. in something that underlies it which acts as matter. But things which are of the nature of matter, or of wholes that include matter, are not the same as their essences, nor are accidental unities like that of Socrates and musical. For these are the same only by accident. Non-essential, homie. Now let us treat first of definition, insofar as we have not treated of it in the analytics. For the problem stated in them is useful for our inquiries concerning substances. I mean this problem. Wherein can consist the unity of that, the formula
Wait,
of...
just for anyone listening, that you just started part 12.
It is?
Those are nice bookmarks to say where you come to a new part. Just mention it.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah, I realize.
Started part 12. Just letting them know. Thank you. Continue.
What do you mean woke? Like I'm getting smarter about social issues, or I'm waking up further?
No, I didn't even say woke. I said anyone who's listening, and like if they
No, I'm
lost
talking
their
to
place, I'm
Sorry.
saying just say part 12.
All right, part 12.
Oh,
We got part 12 coming up. Yeah.
do it.
All right, to continue. So we're talking about this problem. Wherein can consist the unity of that, the formula of which we call a definition, as for instance, in the case of man, two-footed animal. And that's barely better than Plato being like, oh, it's a fucking featherless
Bro, we're
bird.
doing a discussion tomorrow. Come on, you're gonna confuse people. Just read it, please.
All right. Why then is this one and not many vis-a-vis animal and two-footed? For in the case of man and pale, there is a plurality where one term does not belong to the other, but a unity when it does belong and the subject man has a certain attribute. For then a unity is produced and we have the pale man. In the present case, on the other hand, one does not share in the other. The genus is not thought to share in its differentiae, for the same thing would share in its contraries, for the differentiae by which genus is divided are contrary. And even if the genus does share in them, the same argument applies, since the differentiae present in man are many, e.g. endowed with feet, two-footed, featherless. Why are these one and not many? Not because they are present in one thing. For on this principle, a unity can be made out of all the attributes of the thing. But surely all the attributes in the definition must be one. For the definition is a single formula, and a formula of substance. So that it must be a formula of some one thing. For substance means a one and a this, as we maintain. Elements of something being substantial. We must first inquire about definitions reached by the method of divisions. There's nothing in the definition except the first name genus and the differentiae. The other genera are the first genus along with this differentiae that are taken with it, e.g. the first maybe animal, the next animal which is two-footed, and again animal which is two-footed and featherless. And similarly, and so on, if the definition includes more terms. And in general, it makes no difference whether it includes many or few terms, nor therefore whether it includes few or simply two. And of the two, the one is differentiate and the other is genus. E.g., in two-footed animal, animal is genus and the other is differentiate. If then the genus absolutely does not exist apart from the species of a genus, or if it exists but exists as matter, for the voice of genus and matter, for the voice is genus and matter, but its differentiate make the species, i.g. the letters, out of it. Clearly, the definition is the formula which comprises the differentiate. But it is also necessary that the division be by the differentia of the differentia. E.g., endowed with feet is a differentia of animal. It differentiates between animals and other things. Again, the differentia of animal endowed with feet must be of it qua endowed with feet. That qua basically means that you can only, in this case, it means that you can only apply the definition of animal endowed with feet to those who may or may not have feet. In this case, like it's predicated upon that. It means like feet with respect to those who may have feet in the first place. Sorry. Listen back.
Please just read.
Motherfucker. Therefore, we must not say, if we are to speak rightly, that of that which is endowed with feet, one part has feathers and one is featherless. If we do this, we do it through incapacity. We must divide it into only cloven-footed and not cloven. For these are differentiae in the foot. Cloven-footedness is a form of footedness, and the process wants always to go on till it reaches a species that contains no differences. And then there will be as many kinds of foot as there are differentiae, and the kinds of animals endowed with feet will be equal in number to the differentiae. If this is so, clearly the last differentia will be the substance of the thing and its definition, since it's not right to state the same things more than once in our definitions, for it's superfluous. And this does happen, for when we say animal endowed with feet and two-footed, we said nothing other than animal having 2 feet. And if we divide this by the proper division, we shall be saying the same thing more than once, as many times as there are differentiae. If then a differentia of differentia may be taken at each step, one differentia, the last, will be the form and the substance. But if we divide according to the accidental qualities, e.g., if we were to divide that which is endowed with feet into the white and the black, there will be as many differentiae as there are cuts. Therefore, it's plain that the definition is the formula which contains the differentiae, or, according to the right method, the last of these. This would be evident if we were to change the order of such definitions, e.g., that of man, saying animal which is two-footed and endowed with feet. For endowed with feet is superfluous when two-footed has been said. But there is no order in the substance, for how are we to think how are we to think the one element posterior and the other prior? Regarding the definitions, then, which are reached by the method of divisions, let this suffice as our first attempt at stating their nature. Big number 13, bad luck, here we go. Hold up. Excuse me. Alright. Part 13, Chapter 13 of Book 7 of Aristotle's Metaphysics. Phenomenology Club, let's go. Let's return to the subject of our inquiry, which is substance. As the substratum and the essence and the compound of these are called substance, so also is the universal. About 2 of these we have spoken, both about the essence and about the substratum, of which we have said that it underlies in 2 senses, either being this, which is the way in which an animal underlies its attributes, or as the matter underlies the complete reality. The universal also is thought by some to be in the fullest sense a cause, and a principle. Therefore, let us attack the discussion of this point also, for it seems impossible that any universal term should be the name of a substance. For firstly, the substance of each thing is that which is peculiar to it, which does not belong to anything else. But the universal is common, since that's what is called universal, which is, but the universal is common, since that is called universal, which is such as to belong to more than one thing. Of which individual then will this be the substance? Either of all or of none. This one will be the others also. For things where substance is one and whose essence is one are themselves also one. Further, substance means that which is not predicable of a subject, but the universal is predicable of some subjects always. But perhaps the universal, while it could not be substance in the way in which the essence is so, can be present in this, e.g., animal can be present in man and horse. Then clearly it is a formula of the essence, and it makes no difference even if it is not a formula of everything that is in the substance. For nonetheless the universal will be the substance of something, as man is the substance of the individual man in whom it is present, so that the same result will follow once more. For the universal, e.g. animal, will be the substance of that in which it is present as something peculiar to it. And further, it's impossible and absurd that the this, i.e. the substance, if it consists of parts, should not consist of substances, nor of what is a this, but of quality. For that which is not substance, i.e. the quality, will then be prior to substance and to the this, which is impossible. For neither in formula, nor in time, nor in coming to be, can the modifications be prior to the substance. Always coming first. For then they will always be separable from it. Further, Socrates will contain a substance present in a substance, so that this will be the substance of two things. And in general it follows, if man and such things are substance, that none of the elements in their formulae is a substance of anything, nor does it exist apart from the species or in anything else. I mean, for instance, that no animal exists apart from the particular kinds of animal, nor does any other of the elements present in formulae exist apart. If, then, we view the matter from these standpoints, it's plain that no universal attribute is a substance, and that this is plain also from the fact that no common predicate indicates a this, but rather a such. If not, many difficulties follow, and especially the third man. Shout out Orson Welles. The conclusion is evident also from the following consideration. A substance cannot consist of substances present in it. Let me restart. The conclusion is evident also from the following consideration. A substance cannot consist of substances present in it in complete reality. Sorry. For things that are thus in complete reality, two are never in complete reality one. Though if they are potentially two, they can be one. E.g., the double line consists of two halves, potentially. For the complete realization of the halves divides them from one another. Therefore, if the substance is one, it will not consist of substances present in it and present in this way, which Democritus describes rightly. He says one thing cannot be made out of two, nor two out of one, for he identifies substances with his indivisible magnitudes. It's clear, therefore, that the same will hold good of number. If number is a synthesis of units, as is said by some, for two is either not one, or there is no unit present in it in complete reality. But our result involves a difficulty. If no substance can consist of universals, because a universal indicates a such, not a this, and if no substance can be composed of substances existing in complete reality, so in complete reality, no substance can just be substances. Every substance would be incomposite, so that there would not even be a formula of any substance. But it is thought by all and was stated long ago that it is either only or primarily substance that can be defined. Yet now it seems that not even substance can. There cannot then be a definition of anything, or in a sense there can be, and in a sense there cannot. And what we are saying will be plainer from what follows. Anybody want to take it to be there? You want to take one more on 1, 2? All right, part 14. It's also clear from these very facts what consequence confronts those who say ideas are substances capable of separate existence and at the same time make form consist of a genus and the differentiate. For if the forms exist and animal is present in man and horse, it is either one and the same in number or different. In formula, it's clearly one, for he who states the formula will go through the same formula in either case. If then there is a man in himself who is a this and exists apart, the parts also of which he consists, e.g. animal and two-footed, must indicate thises, and be capable of separate existence in substances. Therefore, animal as well as man, must be of this sort. Now, 1 in parentheses. If the animal in the horse and in man is one and the same as you are with yourself, A, how will the one in things that exist apart be one? And how will this animal escape being divided even from itself? Further, B, if it is to share in two-footed and many-footed, an impossible conclusion follows. For contrary attributes will belong at the same time to it. Although it is one and of this, For contrary attributes will belong at the same time to it, although it is one and of this. If it is not to share in them, what is the relation implied when one says the animal is a two-footed or possessed of feet? But perhaps these things are put together and are in contact or are mixed. Yet all these expressions are absurd. But, number 2, in parentheses, suppose the form to be different in each species. Then there will be practically an infinite number of things whose substance is animal. For it is not by accident that man has animal for one of its elements. Further, many things will be animal itself, for lowercase 1, the animal in each species will be the substance of the species. For it is nothing else than the species. For it is after nothing else that the species is called. If it were, that other would be an element in man, i.e. would be the genus of man. And further, lowercase 2, all the elements of which man is composed will be ideas. None of them, then, will be the idea of one thing and the substance of another. This is impossible. The animal, then, present in each species of animals would be animal itself. Further, from what is this animal in each species derived, and how will it be derived from animal itself? Or how can this animal, whose essence is simply animality, exist apart from animal itself? Further, the 3 in parentheses, in the case of sensible things, both these consequences and others still more absurd follow. If, then, these consequences are impossible, clearly there are forms of sensible things, clearly there are not forms of sensible things in the sense in which some maintain their existence. Alright, Chapter 15, Book 7 of Aristotle's Metaphysics. Since substance is of 2 kinds, the concrete thing in the formula, I mean that one kind of substance is the formula taken with the matter, while another kind is the formula in its generality. Substances in the former sense are capable of destruction, for they are also capable of generation, but there is no destruction of the formula in the sense that it is ever in the course of being destroyed, for there is no generation of it either. The being of house is not generated, but only the being of this house. But without generation and destruction, formulae are and are not. For it has been shown that no one begets nor makes these. For this reason also, there's neither definition nor demonstration about neither definition of nor sensible demonstration about sensible individual substances, because they have matter whose nature is such that they are capable both of being and of not being. For which reason all the individual instances of them are destructible. If then demonstration is of necessary truths and definition a scientific process, and if, just as knowledge cannot be sometimes knowledge and sometimes ignorance, but the state which varies thus is opinion, so too demonstration and definition cannot vary thus, but it is opinion that deals with that which can be otherwise than as it is. Clearly, there can neither be a definition nor turn the page, nor demonstration about sensible individuals. For perishing things are obscure to those who have the relevant knowledge, when they have passed from our perception. Okay. For perishing things are obscure to those who have the relevant knowledge, when they have passed from our perception. And though the formulae remain in the soul unchanged, there will no longer be either definition or demonstration. And so when one of the definition mongers defines any individual, he must recognize that his definition may always be overthrown, for it's not possible to define such things. Nor is it possible to define any idea, capital I, idea, for the idea is, as its supporters say, an individual and can exist apart. And the formula must consist of words, and he who defines what must not invent a word, for it would be unknown. But the established words are common to all the members of the class. These then must apply to something besides the thing to define, e.g., if one were defining you, he would say an animal which is lean or pale, or something else which will apply also to someone other than you. If anyone were to say that perhaps all the attributes taken apart may belong to many of the subjects, but together they belong only to this one, we must reply first that they belong also to both elements, e.g., the two-footed animal belongs to animal and to the two-footed. And in the case of eternal entities, this is even necessary, since the elements are prior to and parts of the compound. Nay, more, they can also exist apart, if man can exist apart. For neither or both can. For either neither or both can. If then neither can, the genus will not exist apart from the various species. But if it does, the differentia will also. Secondly, we must reply that animal and two-footed are prior in being to two-footed animal, and things which are prior to others are not destroyed when the others are. Oh! Again, if the ideas consist of ideas, as they must, since elements are simpler than the compound, it will be further necessary that the elements also of which the idea consists, e.g. animal and two-footed, should be predicated of many subjects. If not, how will they come to be known? For there will then be an idea which cannot be predicated of more subjects than one. But this is not thought possible. Every idea is thought to be capable of being shared and being applied to multiple things. As has been said, then, the impossibility of defining individuals escapes notice in the case of eternal things, especially those which are unique, like the sun or the moon. For people err not only by adding attributes whose removal the sun would survive, e.g., going round the earth or night hidden. For from their view it follows that if it stands still or is visible, it will no longer be the sun. But it is strange if this is so, for the sun means a certain substance, but also by the mention of attributes which can belong to another subject. E.g., if another thing which is stated attributes, if another thing with the stated attributes comes into existence, clearly it will be a sun. The formula, therefore, is general. But the sun was supposed to be an individual, like Cleon or Socrates. After all, why does not one of the supporters of the ideas produce a definition of an idea? It would become clear, if they tried, that what has now been said is true. Fuck, this is 16? Alright. Chapter 16. Evidently, y'all still with me?
Yo.
Alright, let's go. Great. Chapter 16.
Yeah, finish it out. You're so close. You're killing it. Thanks, Sean.
Evidently, even of the things that are thought to be substances, most are only potencies. Both the parts of animals, for none of them exist separately, and when they are separated, then too they exist. All of them merely as matter. And parentheses, in earth and fire and air. For none of them is a unity, but as it were a mere heap, till they are worked up and some unity is made out of them. One might most readily suppose the parts of living things and the parts of the soul nearly related to them to turn out to be both, i.e. existent in complete reality as well as in potency, because they have sources of movement in something in their joints, for which reason some animals live when divided. That's actually... Yet all the parts must exist only potentially. When when they are one and continuous by nature, not by force or by growing into one, for such a phenomenon is an abnormality. Ooh. Since the term unity is used like the term being, in the substance of that which is one, the things whose substance is numerically one are numerically one. Evidently, neither unity nor being can be the substance of things, just as being an element or a principle cannot be the substance. But we ask what, then, the principle is, that we may reduce the thing to something more knowable. Now, these concepts, being and unity, are more substantial than principle or element or cause, but not even the former are substance, since in general nothing that is common is substance. For substance does not belong to anything but to itself, and to that which has it. Nothing doesn't belong to nothing but itself and to that which has it, of which it is the substance. Further, that which is one cannot be in many places at the same time, but that which is common is present in many places at the same time, so that clearly no universal exists apart from its individuals. But those who say the forms exist, in one respect are right, in giving the forms separate existence if they are substances. But in another respect they are not right, because they say that one over many is a form. The reason for their doing this is that they cannot declare what are substances of this sort, the imperishable substances, the reason for their doing so is that they cannot declare what are the substances of this sort, the imperishable substances which exist apart from the individual insensible substances. They make them, then, the same in kind as the perishable things. For this kind of substance we know, in parentheses, man himself and horse itself, adding to the sensible things the word itself. Yet even if we, turn the page, had not seen the stars, nonetheless, I would suppose, would they have been eternal substances apart from those which we knew? Fuck that up. So, that now also, if we do not know what nonsensible substances there are, yet it is doubtless necessary that there should be some. Clearly then, no universal term is the name of a substance, and no substance is composed of substances. 17. Let us state what, i.e., what kind of thing, substance should be said to be, taking once more another starting point. For perhaps from this we shall get a clear view of that substance which exists apart from sensible substances. Since then, substance is a principle and a cause, let us pursue it from this starting point. The why is always sought in this form. Why does one thing attach to another? For to inquire why the musical man is a musical man is either to inquire, as we've said, why the man is musical, or it is something else. Now, why a thing is itself is a meaningless inquiry, for, in brackets, to give meaning to the question, why, the fact or the existence of the thing must already be evident, e.g., that the moon is eclipsed. But the fact that a thing is itself is the single reason and the single cause to be given an answer to all such questions as why the man is man or the why the man is man or the musician musical. Unless one were to answer because each thing is inseparable from itself, and its being one just meant this. This, however, is common to all things and is a short and easy way with the question. But we can inquire why man is an animal of such and such a nature. This, then, is plain, that we're not inquiring why he who is a man is a man. We are inquiring, then, why something is not... We're inquiring, then, why something is predicable of something. That it is predicable must be clear, for if not, the inquiry is an inquiry into nothing. E.g., why does it thunder? This is the same as why is sound produced in the clouds. Thus, the inquiry is about the predication of one thing of another. And why are these things, i.e., bricks and stones, a house? Plainly, we are seeking the cause. And this is the essence, to speak abstractly. which in some cases is the end, e.g. perhaps in the case of a house or a bed, and in some cases is the first mover. For this also is a cause. But while the efficient cause is sought in the case of genesis and destruction, the final cause is sought in the case of being also. Excuse me for a moment. Space, you want to bring it home?
You should finish. You're so close.
Okay. Space, I got you though. In the future, I got you. The object of the inquiry is most easily overlooked where one term is not expressly predicated of another, e.g., when we inquire what man is, because we do not distinguish and do not say definitely that certain elements make up a certain whole, but we must articulate our meaning before we begin to inquire. If not, the inquiry is on the borderline between being a search for something and a search for nothing. Since we must have the existence of the thing as something given, clearly the question is why the matter is some definite thing. E.g., why are these materials a house? Because that which has the essence of a house is present. And why is this individual thing, or this body having this form, a man? Therefore what we seek is the cause, i.e. the form, by reason of which the matter is some definite thing, and this is the substance of the thing. Evidently then, in the case of simple terms, no inquiry nor teaching is possible. Our attitude towards such things is other than that of inquiry. Since that which is compounded out of something so that the whole is one, not like a heap, but like a syllable. Now the syllable is not its elements. Ba is not the same as B or A, nor is flesh, fire, and earth. For when these are separated, the wholes, i.e. the flesh and the syllable, no longer exist, but the elements of the syllable exist, and so do fire and earth. The syllable then is something. Not only its elements, the vowel and the consonant, but also something else, and the flesh is not only fire and earth, or the hot and the cold, but also something else. If then, that something must itself be either an element or composed of elements. 1. If it is an element, the same argument will apply again. For flesh will consist of this in fire and earth and something still further, so that the process will go on to infinity. But 2. If it is a compound, clearly it will be a compound not of one, but of more than one, or else that one thing will be the thing itself. So that again, in this case, we can use the same argument as in the case of flesh or of the syllable. But it would seem that this other is something, and not an element, in that it is the cause which makes this thing flesh and that a syllable. And similarly in all other cases. But it would seem that this other is something, and not an element, in that it is the cause which makes this thing flesh and that a syllable. And similarly in other cases. And this is the substance of each thing, for this is the primary cause of its being. And since, while some things are not substances, as many as our substances are formed in accordance with the nature of their own and by a process of nature, their substance would seem to be this kind of nature, which is not an element but a principle. An element, on the other hand, is that into which a thing is divided and which is present in it as matter, e.g., A and B are elements of the syllable.
Hello?
Yeah, it's done.
That was the last word? Oh.
Yep, 17 is over. That's the end of 7, start at 8.
Oh, my print was cut off wrong. Hey!
Hey!
Great job! That was
Hey!
wonderful.
Come meet me under the boardwalk. Hey!
Come meet me under the boardwalk. That was so good. Oh, I was like getting emotional.
When?
I'm feeling very emotional.
So am I.
This reading is just like really moving me.
I see you.
Hold on. Let me kick Craig out.
Yeah, Craig. This is not for your ears, Craig. Go to bed.